It is 8:40, Newstalk Sauga 960 Raw, Mike Richards, and we are thrilled to have Charles Munroe from Barbeque Pro back on the show. We got a lot of response, actually.
Massive.
Including from our title sponsors, Bell Lifestyle Products. Tim Allen goes, that guy was money. That was fantastic. I go, absolutely. We have to have him back because there's a couple of reasons. Number one, he suggested to me to get a ribeye steak, And just so you know, Charles, my son looks at me after I brought it in. We cut into it, have the first bite. My son Jordan goes, "Oh my God, best ever!" So so Charles Munroe, you are 1 for 1.
Yes,
I'm perfect. I can't complain about that now, can I?
No.
How did you do it? You did it just salt and pepper,
that's it.
Classic.
Just it. I mean, when meat's that good. And I just went to like Helenda's. I just went to, I know it's realized as a chain, but when you see the marbling in the meat alone, you knew it was going to be great.
And if you know where it comes from on the animal, as if we're talking about it, yeah, it's going to be a tender, beautiful piece to eat. It's just the best.
I find it so much more tender and flavorful than the usual steaks my wife gets from Giant Tiger. Now, sure, that meat comes with usually a free pair of shoes. So
there are deals in life, right?
Yeah. See, and the things you learn. So Charles is on the show, and this is where it gets really embarrassing because all of us probably do the same thing. And Charles talks about the starter, which everyone yells at after the first month because it doesn't work, or however long it takes. It seems like seconds. And everyone yells at the starter. And then Charles says, well, did you check the batteries? They run on batteries. So I go outside and I start looking because I go, I don't know if this Charles is telling the truth. I mean, sure, he's got a company called Barbeque Pro, and he only deals with 50 barbecues a day with his company.
What does he know, really?
What does he know?
What is a hack job over here?
And I go outside, and there's like I guess it's a picture of a battery. It's like I'm sorry, Charles, I don't read Sanskrit. I don't.
Yeah, it looks like a hieroglyph.
Yeah, what is it supposed to be? No one knows it's batteries. But
dude, the design team was lacking on that one. They might have had one too many the night before, right? I have
exactly.
No idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are thrilled to have you back because you just killed it. We thought you did a wonderful job. And I can only imagine with the nice weather, certainly in the last couple of weeks, I'm hoping busy.
We're slammed. This is the best season Barbeque Pro has had. Unfortunately, we just don't have the staff to get out there and get the job done fast enough. Grant is one of my main guys at the office, and him and the team are just struggling to keep things going because we can't get to people fast enough to get their barbecue serviced. So it's great. The weather has been good to us. All in all, what a season, what a year. But I think that's going to be for everybody. I think we're looking at a good summer coming in, guys.
And you know what, Charles, even though you guys are slammed, you guys have a lot of different technicians across the GTA. So what's the fastest way of somebody actually booking a call for you guys? Because even though you're busy, you still will fit them in within a couple of days. I know that because I've talked to you almost daily for the last 2 weeks. And yeah, it's,
yeah, we have a close personal relationship.
Well, we are, yeah, and I hope this continues too. But what's the best way for listeners right now to book a Barbeque Pro cleaning, which I cannot recommend more. It's like I have a brand new barbecue. It really does.
That's exactly what we want to hear. The best bet is for them to hop on barbequepro.com online and book there. We do have an option. We have a thing called express spots. Now, what those really are is spots that we save in case the technician is sick or it rains on us, we can't finish the day. So like you said, we're booking for August 4th, but there is the opportunity we can move you right up if need be. So, but obviously just get online or pick up the phone, give us a call. We love talking to people. You can tell I talk a lot. It's a natural thing. I don't know. So since you got your barbecue fix, Dave, what have you been cooking on it? Tell me it's not hot dogs and burgers.
Hey, I still like my hot dogs. Get off my back. I still like my hot. No, I'm a big steak and ribs guy. I could probably, and obviously my wife really likes ribs. I like both. I like anything on the barbecue, but ribs, I could almost go for ribs 5 days a week. That's and Mike's been sharing some rib recipes with us daily. Do you have any specific ways of how you like cooking ribs? Because Mike does the oven based with a root beer, takes it out after a couple hours, puts your favorite barbecue sauce on it, char, and let's have at it. Is there any specialty way you do ribs? Because I'm guessing
I'm right there. I'm right there with Mike. Yeah, with ribs, there is sometimes I do like you guys ever got the Grace's product? They have a jerk seasoning, and it comes in a jar. This stuff, I'm telling you, it's fire in a bottle. So when you use it very sparingly. It does a lot. But what I'll do is I'll take like the short ribs or the back ribs, and I'll cut them first, and then I'll grill them just like that. So the meat's going to be a lot different than when you're baking them slowly. It's more of a, it's not as tender. It doesn't fall off the bone. It kind of rips, but it's delicious. And I use that jerk seasoning. I love it. Jerk ribs, one of my favorites to do on the barbecue.
Now, how did you spell that company? So it's a rub, is it? We're talking about a rub?
It's a product. It's called Grace, and it's actually it comes in a jar. It's not a rub. It's a sauce. Okay. But it's like paste. But literally, it's called Grace's Jerk Seasoning. The jar is kind of like it's your regular jar, but at the same time, you just 1 tablespoon could do a whole rack of ribs. Right. Don't get the idea that I better baste this on so it's nice and thick. You'll be regretting it for days. I'll tell you that much. It's not a good idea. And I know that from experience, right? So take it from me. Yeah,
that's right. And take it for him because he's from Barbeque Pro. It is Charles Munroe, and I'm just curious of the things that people do. And I remember, I guess it was Matt Dunnigan had that that show he did a little bit. It was all about the barbecue. And the one thing that he did that I started doing was he'd take like a rag kind of, and it would have an oil on it, so sort of like a canola or a grapeseed, like something that has a higher
burn rate.
And he faithfully used that on his grill all the time, so food wouldn't stick. I know people use the Pam sprays, the barbecue sprays. If you want a non-stick sort of grill, and obviously it's going to affect the quality of your grill, how clean it is, and so on. Do you recommend something?
Clean it. But at the same time, because what it's getting stuck on is a lot of the dirt. Now, yes, the meat is going to stick to the steel, but you want that searing. I find that the best way to have your meat not stick, like when you're trying to flip something, is to let it cook right through. Just remember, I said this last time. I said, let your meat cook. We always get that, better flip it. Oh, it's starting to burn, da-da-da. Just turn crank that heat up when you're warming it up. Cook everything on medium. And just let it cook. Once it sears properly on the meat, you should be able to flip it without it sticking to the grill fairly well. So I wouldn't, people with their canola oils and on theirs and the rubs and everything, not a bad idea. Let's be honest, when I'm doing a steak, I'll put on a plate, I'll drizzle some oil on it, salt and pepper, both sides. Yeah. Everyone does it. But my grill, unfortunately, is a disgrace, but don't tell anyone that. We aren't on radio or anything.
Yeah, no. Affect your business at all.
Yeah, we're good.
But the owner of barbecue and my grill sucks.
Barbeque Pro is too busy to come and deal with Charles's barbecue. Yeah, there's no way. It's just not worth it. It might take us a couple of days as it is.
Now cleaning after too, and I was a bristle guy until you got me onto the Caesar, or not Caesar. What am I saying here? That's the what's the name of the cleaning apparatus you use after? It's what?
Cedar scraper.
Cedar. That's right.
Oh, you like those? You like those?
Yeah, here's the thing with the Cedar scraper. Okay, these things are great, but the thing is, they take a while. They're like a nice pair of leather shoes. A real nice pair of leather shoes, you want to work them in and get them comfortable. Cedar scrapers are the same. You got to wait until it fully burns around so it fits right in between the grills. A lot of people don't have the patience for that, and I don't blame them. But once you get your cedar scraper properly seasoned, you could say, or burnt, I don't know, working, they're fantastic. It's the best.
Now, the steel bristles, is that just because of damage to the grill itself?
Steel bristles, in all honesty, they aren't going to damage your grill, but there is the risk that you're going to have a bristle fall off. You can get that lodged. Someone can get lodged in their throat. Like the ones that we're doing right now are actually an oak because it's a little stronger than cedar. You can get them in different types of wood, and ours are thinners it allows. It's the Barbeque Pro scraper that we have actually burns faster to get in between those grills to really get the stuff off. If you're using a metal brush, that's fine. There's different ones. There's coiled that you've probably seen, and then there's your standard barbecue brush that you can probably pick up with your steaks at Giant Tiger Mike. But at the same time,
and a pair of pants.
If you got one of those, I wouldn't say, you know, it might be a good idea when you're done scraping, just take a piece of paper towel or something and just, you know, wipe that grill off, just so you don't get any throat surprises in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, the good thing about my shows over the years is my wife never listens because obviously, like a comic, I am making this up. My wife does not buy.
Oh, of course not. I don't even heard.
No, there'll be people. Trust me, because I have to. You know, look. I used to do a bit where in Calgary I would pretend that it was Mika Kippersoff on the phone, and on a game day I would call him up and he would get all mad and he talked in a very bizarre language, which was supposed to be Finnish, and he would say really horrible things that he'd eat, like he'd go fishing with human fingers. He said all kinds of really crazy. And that day, invariably, my program director is getting a phone call and saying, "What is Richards doing? Calling me to keep us off on a game day." Didn't you hear him talking about
he's not making it up.
Didn't you hear Mika talking about how he enjoys baboon meat?
Am I able to look this up after? Is this archived somewhere?
There's not. Well, people are actually they're asking, and I'm getting it pounded today about where is all this stuff. And of course, when you change radio companies, they get a little picky about what you're allowed to take with you or not. But
True.
Yeah, very shortly, we'll be able to share this with everybody. So yes, I can get some of those. But you know, as we started this conversation, and I talked about the ribeye steak, so that was just such a home run. I can't tell you how delicious it was. In terms of different kinds of cuts, because of your experience as a meat stylist.
Meat stylist, yes.
Meat stylist.
Working with animals, of course.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, there's all kinds of steaks that people sometimes don't generally get because it's maybe
like a flank steak or a skirt steak or something like that.
Hanger steak or whatever you want to call it. What also would you, if you're going off the beaten path a little bit, maybe want to spend a little more, what is another kind of cut that you would suggest for the barbecue season?
And we're talking beef?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, a hanger steak or a skirt steak, those are great for marinating. Okay, because it's a tougher meat. So if you want to throw that in a Ziploc bag and throw in some garlic, you know, soy sauce, you throw in anything you like, if you like it spicy. I have a feeling you guys like to play around with, you know, your marinades and stuff on your own. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you an exact recipe, but those are great for absorbing it. And then you just got to be careful because they're a thinner steak. You just want to make sure that you cook it properly. So you don't want to overcook it because it's going to be tough. Okay. And you're really going to see the grain in the meat on that one. All right. Once it's cooked, and you're always going to want to cut against the grain. Okay. So that means the meat's going to tear apart properly. Another one that I like doing, it's not the cheapest, but it's cheaper than say a tomahawk or a ribeye or a top sirloin or a New York or whatever, is top sirloin. A nice top sirloin, because man, you can get those puppies like 2-3 inches thick. And you cook that one up for the whole family. That's a great steak. And you know, you're probably looking at a good butcher store, $5-8 cheaper a pound, which is substantial.
I know we're going to run out of time here, but just a real quick one because people ask all the time, and we really don't know. When we hear words like Kobe and Wagyu, those kinds of steaks, we know that they're premium. Is that worth the money if someone's looking to spend that kind of money on a steak?
I call them, they're like bubblegum steaks, okay? So when you're eating them, you know, it's just there's so much fat in it. They're extremely filling and they're juicy, they're delicious, but you can't eat very much of them. So if you want to try it, go for it. Some people just love it. I stick to just the proper, you know, AAA beef that I can get. That's the best for me. It goes a little over the top when you get into the Wagyu. But,
barbequepro.com. Barbecue is spelled out, pro.com, all one word. Check it out. Say hi to Charles for us. And Charles, let's do this again in a couple of weeks because I know as soon as we put this out on social media, people are going to go, "Oh, I have a question." Oh, I have a question.
By all means, you know, tell them they can even shoot their questions over to us online. So www.barbequepro.com, like you said. Then go on. We have a live chat. They can ask us questions. We're here to answer. We're here to help.
Oh, great
Awesome.
segment as always. Oh, just love these. Thanks so much, Charles. You take care, and we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Guys, looking forward to it. All right, we'll see what you cook.
That is Charles Munroe from Barbeque Pro. That is, boy, I'll tell you, just love this segment, as everyone did, which is why
Yes.
Charles all of a sudden finds himself back on. So you will also see this later today, obviously, when I put this promo out, put it on YouTube, and you'll be able to see Charles and as I said, learn what we have learned already.